Right, so today I'm going to be covering everything that Apple announced September 10th in their big Apple event that they have every single year. So without further ado, let's roll in that intro. Hey, it's AKAJK. I don't want to waste any time. And this is the first video that I'm actually making where I'm actually wearing my braces. Yeah. Let's move on. So they started out the event by announcing something called Apple Arcade. Now, I mean, we've all known about this for a while. It's essentially like Apple's take on this new gaming platform where you pay like a certain subscription each month, you get access to a ton of games. It's like Apple's new sort of Steam type thing, that they have like a whole gaming platform, but instead of like buying each game separately, you're paying the one like price per month. And they have actually partnered with a lot of major gaming platforms, most notably Konami. And they should help them create an entire new host of new games and stuff that is actually going to be cool and stuff that we'll actually enjoy playing. Now, they showed off a couple of games in the event. Now, just in my opinion, they didn't look too amazing or anything. The ones that they were showing off were just not really to my taste. But, I mean, they're going to have a lot of games. And so, I mean, there's probably going to be something great for everyone. Definitely curious to see what's going to go on with the whole Apple Arcade thing. They're going to be offering a 1-month free trial, so definitely going to be getting that. And I think with the monthly subscription, you're going to be able to use it on 6 different devices, like it's a whole family package. $4.99 a month, US dollars. Not too bad. I mean, around here it's about £3. But obviously the main part is actually being able to see the selection of games and whether or not the devices will actually be able to run it really well. Now, one that I'm really excited about seeing is Sonic Team Racing. I mean, I love Sonic and Mario and Spyro and those kind of games, like the old ones that have been remastered and etc. And I like the whole Mario Kart kind of game. Like, I still play it on the Nintendo DSi still. Just to have it pretty much in my pocket anytime when I want to play it on my phone is pretty great. Now, I will be making some separate videos on, like, the entire game selection and etc. in the future. But let's move on to the next thing. Next up is another software announcement. This is Apple TV Plus. Now, I discussed this in the previous Apple event, which was like April or something like that. I can't really remember exactly. But they did talk about Apple TV Plus. Now, basically, what you really need to know about this is it's a Netflix competitor. It's that kind of like platform where you can like stream content like TV shows and movies. So Apple have partnered up with a bunch of studios and whatever to create a whole new host of content that we can enjoy. This will also cost $4.99 a month, US dollars, and it will also have a 1-month free trial. If you do buy any of the main Apple products right now, which are the iPhone, iPad, the Mac, or the Apple TV, they'll actually give you 1 year of Apple TV Plus included. That's pretty great, but anyway, what I'm going to do is definitely take the 1-month free trial. Now, I don't think it's going to be amazing at the start of the entire whole platform. We just got to wait for more shows to be added and etc. Well, they showed off a trailer in the actual event starring Jason Momoa. You know, Aquaman and from Game of Thrones, you know, that guy. It's a show called C. Looks kind of interesting, like some ancient tribal kind of thing. So maybe in the future I might be comparing Amazon Prime Video, Netflix, and Apple TV Plus. Who knows? Now, the third main announcement was iPad OS. Now, I'm not really going to cover this in that much detail. I'm going to have a whole separate video, or maybe even multiple videos on iPad OS and everything that it's included. But with iPad OS, they actually released, or they announced, the 7th generation iPad. I don't know if they're calling this iPad 7 or just 7th gen. I'm not too sure on that. But yeah, I mean, it's basically just like the iPad that we've been used to, just improved, like better specs, better screen, etc. You know, stuff like that. Nothing like hugely different or anything like that. I mean, it has a 10.2-inch display, it's a brighter screen, and it's got some improved specs. The price is pretty good. It starts at $399. Which, I mean, it's not too bad. It's probably going to be a 64GB option. And obviously, if you do buy it right now, you do get the 1 year of Apple TV Plus included. Next up is the Apple Watch. Oh yeah, I do have an Apple Watch, and I can vouch for it. It's a pretty good device. I actually have the original one. So, I mean, just, you know, go and buy all the features that are in the newer ones. I mean, I think it's actually a pretty good device to pick up. But regardless, I was just going to say, I bought some third-party bands and they ripped off. I took them to the Apple Store today and they took out those, they took out like part of the band was stuck in. I don't know why I'm saying this. It's just give you a bit of context on my life, yeah. I'm not wearing it right now. I would be, but it's just, you know, we just got to sort it out. So anyway. But anyways, the new Apple Watch, they started out by showing off this sort of trailer for the watch and showing off how it affected people's lives and how many people's lives were saved, and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Now they've introduced a couple of like hearing researches and heart studies, which you can like participate in, and they can do some research and show like how the sounds around you are harming like your life in a negative way, stuff like that. It's just a research study, you can participate in it. But the main thing is actually the Apple Watch, and this is the Apple Watch Series 5. I don't know why I put up two hands, but... Now, what they started out by saying is this is always on, and the screen just doesn't turn off, essentially. Now, I'm pretty sure from recollection of the event, they said it like dims down or whatever when you're not using it. So let's say you're doing push-ups, you can just like glance at it without having to lift your arm up, or if you're in some sort of awkward situation, can't really check the time, you just look down instead of having to lift it up. Now, there is a brand new display with some extra brightness. The watch has some more powerful specs, same battery life as last year's model, which is like supposed to be 18 hours all-day battery life. Now, I don't know how accurate that is, depending on whatever watch faces you use and the actual stuff that you use it for. It can vary, obviously. But, we'll see. Now, they've added a compass to the watch and this SOS feature, so let's say you have some medical issue that happens abroad, like let's say you're in Spain, you can use the SOS feature pretty much in over 150 countries, like regardless of whether or not you have like you actually live there and you have like your phone set up and everything. That has to be with the cellular model though. Now the new Apple Watches are made out of 100% recycled aluminium. That's pretty great, but obviously it's not a new feature or anything. Now the GPS models will start at $399, the cellular at $499. But what's really cool is that they've kept the Series 3, and they've put it up for what is it, $199 I think, or is it $150? I think it's still $199, and essentially like you can buy it now at a much cheaper price. It's like half the price of the newer ones, and you can get the Apple Watch Series 3, which is still great, has the cellular features, and honestly, I mean, from what I've seen, there isn't that much difference between Series 3, 4, and 5. I mean, there's a bigger difference between 3 and 4 than there is between 4 and 5, but 3, 4, and 5 are pretty much all great. Yeah, I checked, it's $199 for the Series 3, which they're going to be putting on the Apple Store. Now, what I'm guessing you've been eagerly waiting for is the new iPhone lineup, so we're not going to cover it. I'm just kidding, we're going to get right into it. So they started out with the iPhone 11. By the way, I'm sorry if you can see the sort of RoboCop type of laser thing on my glasses. It's because of the RGB lights behind me. If I turn them off, the room gets too dark, and then it's a whole freaking lighting situation. But anyways, also, I don't know, I kind of boosted the ISO on this video. It might be a little grainy, but I didn't have some lighting equipment, so I'm sorry. I really wanted to get some videos out. Now, the iPhone 11 is essentially the successor to the iPhone XR, which is the most budget option on the 3 iPhones that they release. So this one's the one that comes in 6 different colors. This year they have changed them, so they are. Reading them off my monitor right now: black, white, product red, green, yellow, and purple. Yeah. They have improved the HDR features on the camera, and they have just been going heavy on the cameras. So the iPhone 11 has two cameras, like it's a dual lens camera thing. Whereas last year the XR had one. I guess you can tell the features. One wide angle, one telephoto lens. So actually when it's zoomed in, for anyone who doesn't really understand, when the picture is like, let's say 2 times zoomed in, it's actually going to be straight from a lens. So it's not, because when you zoom in, it gets like much blurrier and etc. If you're 2 times zoomed in, it's not going to be like that. You're not going to have any quality loss or anything. Get what I mean? Zooming in just is better. Yes, it's just that's basically the idea of the telephoto lens. Now, they did show off some sample videos using the camera, and they did look pretty great, but obviously they have big teams with expensive lighting equipment, expensive audio, great locations and sets. You can't really get a video like that in your own house, but the camera quality is pretty great, as it is every single year. The camera now does support 4K at 60 frames per second, which is pretty great. So if any of you are like tech heads or gamers, you obviously understand that 4K 60 is pretty great. If you're not, 4K just means the picture just looks way better than like HD or whatever. And 60 frames per second means the video is much smoother, okay? And the selfie camera has actually seen some improvements. You can actually do 4K with the selfie camera. Yeah, with the front-facing camera you can do 4K and slow-mo, so you can take like some slow-mo selfies or stuff like that. Yeah. Afterwards, they showed off this like this iOS/iPadOS game called Pascal's Whisper. It looks pretty great, and I think I would definitely be getting it. It looks like some sort of action RPG game, if I do remember accurately, but it looks pretty great. Now the new iPhones have this new A13 chip. Well, this is just for the iPhone 11. The other two actually have the A13 Bionic, but this is just a much more powerful chip, basically. Now, next up is the iPhone 11 Pro, which right off the bat comes in, well, several colors. So the standard silver and space gray that we've seen since the iPhone 10, and the gold, which was introduced last year, and this new midnight green, which looks pretty great, which has just been introduced. So yeah, this is for the iPhone 11 Pro and the iPhone 11 Pro Max, which are the successors to the iPhone XS and the iPhone XS Max. So the iPhone 11 Pro is basically the main phone in the lineup. The Max is the bigger one, and the standard 11 is the cheap version. It's a bit of a weird naming scheme this year. Now the new iPhones have HDR10 and Dolby Atmos, which is pretty great. The iPhone 11 Pro has 4 hours extra battery life in comparison to last year, and the Pro Max has an extra 5 hours. Now this year they're rocking that triple camera setup, the whole thing. So they have the regular wide angle, which is just your standard shot, the telephoto, which is the zoomed in, like kind of cropped up, and then they have the ultra wide, which is like, looks like it's much further. So you're standing in the same position, and they showed off these like 3 pictures. So the ultra wide is just like, it just shows a more wide photo, basically. You get what I mean? It's ultra wide instead of just, this is, let's say this is wide, this is what ultra wide shows you. You get what I mean? That's what ultra wide is. They did also show their preview videos. They did look pretty great. The iPhone 11 Pro is going to cost you quite a bit, as they always do each year. It's going to be $999 for the 64GB option. The Pro Max is going to be $1,099 for the 64GB option. And obviously it can get like higher if you go with the 256GB option, blah blah blah. They are expensive devices, but they are pretty great. By the way, my iPhone 10, I dropped it. Yeah, I screwed it up. We paid about nearly $400, sent it in today. It's a real shame, and yeah, it should be back tomorrow hopefully and fixed. Anyways, that's it for this episode. If you did enjoy this video, go ahead and smash the like button. It definitely helps me out. If you want to see more like tech content like this and more news on the Apple stuff, then make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you're notified every time I post. Thank you for watching this video. I do know it was long, and I'm glad you sat through the whole way. Yeah, see you on the next one. Peace.